Hi everyone, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today, guys, I've got something really interesting to share with you. I'm going to be talking about evolving through transits and how to understand the nature of how these sort of planetary cycles affect us and how we can take advantage of being tuned into what messages are being sort of reflected back to us and how we can kind of evolve through that process. Now, a lot of my work that I do is basically about self-actualization. It's about empowerment. It's trying to understand where you fit within the cosmos, connecting to your intuition, allowing your individuality to exist, etc., etc. And so most of the time when I do the videos and I talk about the astrology, I'm always coming from a place where if a transit, for instance, is happening. So right now, I did a video yesterday talking about Uranus making a balsamic phase conjunction to Venus and how we sort of need to be looking at that. And I felt that this would be a good opportunity to kind of like ground our understanding of this process even more and get us to be able to like have a wider perspective of how to actually use astrology in your life, okay? So that's what I'm going to try and accomplish today. I'm going to try and get that through to you guys. So what we got to do firstly is kind of like ground our understanding of how the effect works and how we experience this. And then I'm going to give you an example. And then from that experience, we can try and integrate that into our existence. Okay. So basically, when a planetary system takes place in our astrology chart, so you've got a chart that you were born with at the time of your birth. Okay. So exactly where the planets were when you were born is what your natal chart will look like. And then as you sort of like grow up and you experience your life, etc., those planets move along, right? So they sort of move forward. And let's say, for instance, you have a planet at the bottom of your chart, and this is when you were born. And let's say that you have another planet, towards the left, the right-hand side, the descendant, okay, when you were born as well. Now, what will happen is that planet that was at the bottom of your chart obviously is going to still keep on moving, okay? And at some point, it's going to connect to the planet that's on your descendant, okay, on the left-hand side, and it's going to connect to that, right? And what that means is that at some point, those energies, those frequencies are going to play out a theme in your life, okay? So that's what a transit is. That is what it basically represents. It's talking about an activation of a theme relative to your karma, okay? So as an example, again, to kind of like make this even more clearer, is that when we look at a transit that's taking place in our lives and we first acknowledge, before anything else, acknowledge that the signature that exists in your chart, in other words, the totality of your whole chart, your astrological chart, your natal chart, will have a certain vibration, a certain frequency, a certain signature to it. We always have to understand that process first and really truly understand that before we can even start applying any of the meanings of the transits that are taking place in your life, okay? So we first got to understand the astrology chart in itself. So as an example, let's just take, like any person, for instance. Let's use my own, okay? And we say that the evolutionary intent in this lifetime for my soul is to work out how to integrate the emotional field into my perception, okay? To be able to speak from the heart and allow my emotions to be connected to that space, okay? So that's my evolutionary intent. This is what the soul wanted to do in this lifetime, okay? So now I have a transit take place, okay? And we take a planet, for instance, let's just take Mercury. And Mercury touches Venus in my chart, okay? So natal Venus and transiting Mercury are going to connect to each other on my chart. So the transit means where the planet is today, and the natal placement of my Venus is where it was when I was born, okay? There will be a difference. So transiting Mercury comes across and it touches it like this. And what will happen is that I will be more likely to express that energy, that theme in my life, and become more conscious of it in a Mercury type way. All right, so it might come through communication. I might get some understanding. I might get some awareness in, if I'm writing, for instance, I might get an insight and go, okay, so I'm learning more about my inner dialogue to myself and how I project that identity out into the world, Venus, okay, through maybe writing, Mercury. or I might have a conversation, for instance. But when we now integrate that awareness, and then we take the signature of my chart, which is the emotional field, in like putting it into my life, then what I will see is that the bottom line of my individuality and this transit, when put together, will get this clear image of how I can be more integrating of my emotional field. Okay, how I can allow that communication to be from the heart. So I hope that's like really, really clear. Okay, I'll go over it one more time. The transit reflects a moving planet where it is today, or wherever it was at a special event or a date in time, and the natal placement of whatever planet, okay, when you were born. And the transiting planet will touch the natal planet, and it will trigger off a series of themes, and that series of themes will be directly linked to your individual context chart, what your chart means, which is why nobody can actually have the exact same experience of a transit, even though there are similarities. In other words, somebody's Venus can be touched by Gemini and will have an insight through communication. The actual message or the actual information won't be generalized. It can't be generalized because it's impossible. Somebody else's Venus will be in different charts, etc., etc. So individualization, very important. And then, okay, looking and interpreting how the transit works. So that's the first place, okay? That's how the transit works. That's what a transit means. The second thing is that the effect of a transit is like nature, like when we have the cycles of night and day. So what will happen is that, let's use my example again of natal Venus transiting Mercury, okay? So natal Venus is sitting over here and transiting Mercury comes along and starts to make a connection to my Venus. And it's like, I'll experience that theme for, let's say, for instance, 3 days. Okay, Mercury isn't that slow. It's a very fast moving planet. So it will touch that Venus, and I'll have like the opportunity to be tuned into that signature, that meaning, that representation for that period of time, for like, say, 3 days. And it's like a big flashlight, right? It's like the day, okay? You experience that transit for what it is. And then what happens is that when Mercury starts to leave, you are left with the experience, the awareness, the imprints of that transit. So the best way to actually move forward when you experience transits is to allow yourself to experience what you're experiencing by being in the moment, by being conscious of the fact that you are an infinite being experiencing what it's like to be human, and through that experience use astrology to understand your self-awareness through transits and so on. Okay? So you understand that concept, you ground yourself in that, and you allow the day to happen. You allow the transit to happen. You tune in and you see what's happening. And then you get the opportunity to reflect back in on that experience. And when you reflect back in on that experience, you actually start to become aware of the insights and understandings that were provided to you during that period of time. Pretty neat, isn't it? Okay, so that's in effect how you could actually evolve through a transit. It gives you this opportunity to become aware of it. And then when the transit is over, or the planet has moved away from the other planet, then you are left with that awareness. And then you integrate it, you culminate it, you digest it into yourself. Pretty cool. So what I've got to do is I'm going to put on this little astrology chart over there. And it's not the one I usually do, or charts that you guys usually see I work with. But it definitely is a lot clearer other than the other astrology sort of system I work with. So that's why that chart's up there. Now, what I want you guys to look at, okay, and this is going to help us a lot more in terms of visualization, is that the planets that so this chart over here, the planets that are in black and are in the inner side of this astrology wheel are the placements of the planets when you were born, okay? The natal placement. So that's what I mean when I said natal, okay? They're stuck there. They're not going anywhere. It was where they were when you were born, okay? They don't move. And the green symbols on the outside of it reflect the planets that are where they are today, okay? So in other words, as they've progressed, as they've moved. So as you can look, I've put there the word Jupiter, okay? Now, this person has the moon, okay, and Uranus, which is the black symbols. They're conjunct each other, and they're in the sign Cancer, and they are his natal planets, okay? And then the green symbol, Jupiter, transiting Jupiter, is making a connection to those. So in this person's life, okay, what would generally probably happen during this period of time is that transiting Jupiter will start to expand this person's awareness of whatever the moon conjunct Uranus means in this person's chart, okay? They'll get an opportunity as Jupiter moves across those symbols to become aware deeply, more consciously, okay, and become awake to the symbolism of that. And it's fantastic because it allows you to become aware of whatever it symbolizes, again, bring it to the surface, like I said, and then understand what you can do to evolve through it, to become aware of it. Ah, okay. So let's say Uranus conjunct the moon in Cancer correlates to somebody that has had a very traumatic and very sharp and sudden shocks, okay, in the home, Cancer, right, moon. And so it's affected this person's inner self core, okay? They're probably very fractured within their ego identity. And so Jupiter might come along, and Jupiter's a very warm and happy planet, comes along and starts to heal the process by giving you opportunity to intuitively connect, say for instance, to this fractured ego. And there is a possibility that this person could explore some themes that are happening in their life. They might project into the reality, subconsciously, fractured ego, and through experiencing a crisis or experiencing something that's not feeling right, get information back from the environment. In other words, somebody saying, hey, by the way, this is not working for you, or, you know, you're feeling sad over here. That's awareness. That's the theme. So you become aware of that. But at the same time, this person could also actually reflect back to you saying, hey, by the way, have you tried, you know, meditating, or have you tried yoga, or have you tried, you know, just riding your bike, for instance, or bicycle for a period of time, and connect to your emotions and see how you can heal them. So Jupiter will come along, give you some opportunity to become aware of it, but at the same time might even give you the very answers that you seek. So you can use this opportunity to become aware of these transits through that understanding. Pretty neat again, yeah? So as another example, I've got Uranus, which now, as you guys can read over there. Now, the green symbol again, Uranus on the outside, is actually conjunct Mercury, okay, which is on the inside, the guy that looks like he's got a hat on top of him. And so this person would probably have like fractured insights of information come through to him, right? Uranus fractured, and Mercury with the mind. So you're getting these fractured information. People might be saying things to him, but they might come through at different times. And so remember when I said this person might be healing their emotional self, and somebody might be giving them some insights and some thoughts about how you can go about doing that? Well, I bet you that with that Uranus transiting that Mercury, the way that this person would get insights would be somebody would just say something really quickly, very short, and you would and that would be like, that would resonate with a person and say, yeah, actually, I've got to do that. I've got to try that out. So that's exactly how another way that that transit could actually work relative to whatever planets you're experiencing. Pretty cool, isn't it? So this video basically explains that when we are looking at our astrology charts, or when we are, in a sense, understanding more about how we can evolve using the tool of astrology, using the awareness of the cosmos, we can actually give us such beautiful insights into how to make choices going forward, because we can become more acutely aware of what it is that we're looking for. So that was my sort of like goal with this video to try and like encourage people to acknowledge and understand how important astrological timings are and transits are, and what they do, how you experience them. Like I said, the day, you experience it like the day, and then you culminate it during the night. Just like when you go out and you do something in the day, and then you reflect back in on the night, the same procedure. Okay. All right, guys, thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you're interested in booking a reading with myself and us discussing this, then come over to my website, simonvorster.com. I've got my prices up over there, and I am doing actually a special at the moment, which is about 20 minutes long, and we're just talking about the recent astrological events that are happening right now in terms of transits. I'm doing some videos that I send to you just outlining that experience. So if you're interested in that as well, again, check out my site. I've got all the information over there, and if you're interested in, you know, learning more about astrology or understanding some stuff, just write in the comments below as well. I love speaking to you guys about that too. And yeah, lastly but not leastly, if you have enjoyed the content and liked it, hit the like and subscribe button, guys. And thank you very much for your time. Have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye.